How you doing? We welcome y'all. We like to welcome y'all back to the Real Talk podcast. We got a few issues that we want to discuss. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Frankenton, you was telling me about something that happened last week involving your kids.
Yeah. Last week, I'm at home and I get this email, and this email from the school, and they're letting me know that they've got some new policies, and that if my daughters want to change their name or their gender, that they can do that and go through that process with the administrators of the school,
Mm-hmm.
and that I don't have any say, input. I'm not involved. Like the parents are locked out of the process. Now I got to go to the school district and figure out exactly what they mean by it. But at first, like glance, I'm like,
Ain't that
what
a
is going
form
on?
of like child abuse? Like allowing the child to make an adult decision and you the parent and you can't even tell them about the best things to do and how to deal with their own decision making? Like how can the school decide that for you?
What's crazy is that I don't even feel welcome as a parent to come into the school. They make it, after all the shootings happened at the school, they're pretty much on lockdown. You have to go through an intercom to get in. But it's also, they don't make it comfortable for you. You feel like as a parent, you're not really welcome there.
Have you ever thought about maybe putting your kids in private school?
Yes, I have been thinking about it. My daughter moves into high school after the eighth grade this year. And we're thinking about that because the policies don't seem to align with me being a leader and a parent in my own household.
Do you think this problem happened because of the pandemic? You know, so many different people making rules and regulations from us. It took us like out of control of ourselves and from our kids by being told what to do.
We live in California, Warden, so this is a progressive state. And whether it's the environment, right, whether it's electricity or the public schools, what we see is, I don't know, like the
So what they
regulations are
gonna
just
do? Put us in
intense.
boot camps next? Is they gonna have us pack up our stuff, or we gonna leave? We gonna lose responsibility
What
of
they're
our
not going to do is
kids?
change my daughter's name. We spent months deciding, and some women spend years thinking on what they're going to name their baby. And a kid reaches their teenage years, and their hormones are doing what they're raging,
And
and
they
they get
don't
to
really know the direction to really go in, and they should
exactly.
follow the lead of their parent instead of an outsider coming in and basically telling you. That's almost like Roe versus Wade. It's almost like the government is getting in there and deciding our fates for us,
Your
even
name
dealing with
has
our
purpose.
kids.
Exactly. Your
Right.
name has purpose attached to it. And adults need to be a part of that naming process. In a lot of cultures, you have elders, shamans who name children to
Right.
set a
Let
direction.
Vince interject.
uh, they play on that because you got to understand the level of maturity in children. They're easily swayed in different ways, and you have people. I don't want to call them evil, but if the shoe fit, wear it. Anytime you pushing a certain agenda, and then you get in political position to be able to establish certain things as law, then you sometimes you tend to go overboard. And I think anytime you taking the power out of a parent's hand to be able to say it's okay or it's not okay to rename my child and saying that they can just do it on their own, all you have to do is show your different curriculums you have about having two mamas or two daddies, and then you start to sway them and say it's okay if you feel that way. Now, if you want to rename yourself, you can, and the parent don't have no say so. That's kind of wicked, man.
Yeah, that's kind of like you losing control. Like when we went to school, we used to get paddled, but we had to get permission to get paddled.
Mm.
Like they couldn't call you in and spank you without your mother or your father's permission. So anything that's dealing with yours is yours. Can't nobody come in and say, what you can do with your daughter. So if they're gonna start doing it like that, I recommend that people really start looking into to private schools.
But let me talk about the flip side of it, though, because my dad's a social worker, and I ran this by him, and he says, "Well, son, what's going on is that you have some children that really do have, they're transgender or whatever, and their families, when they come out to them, are very abusive. But my thing is, if you're going to create a policy that is intended towards a small group, a minority of situations, you can't make a policy that imposes upon other families that don't have those issues. It's too much of a, in law school, they call it a slippery slope. You're designing something for one thing, but then it opens up Pandora's box to
Well,
these other
it's
issues.
almost like the separation of church and state. Like it's almost like going into like religious practices and different ideologies. You know what I mean? Because those are ideologies. You know that you can do this and you no. It's only like one truth, and that truth is if you was born a woman, you're a woman. If you was born a man, you are a man. You know what I mean? So you can't like wait for 10 years to like change the whole perspective of how we view things. Like, it can't change overnight. It have to be something that's embraced by the family. Like the family have to will okay that. Like you have to come with some type of waiver, like for your kids now, like to say we don't want our kids to be presented with these type of ideas at these schools. Like if my kid is going to be presented to these ideas at this school, I don't want my kid in this school.
But what's crazy is that you
So
would
now I'm saying they should tell you what their school is about. Now parents should actually go to the school. It may be a good school, but what are your policies? It's like, when somebody go in to get a job, they learn like what the rules and regulations is. What is the operational tactics of your school
you
dealing
start
with my
asking those
kids?
types of questions, a lot of times you get pushed back. But I hear you. I
But
agree
it's
with you.
it's basically if you can afford it, it's basically up to you if you want your child in that school with those policies. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
basically. So, Vince, I was going to ask you: do you think that the mental health crisis is worse now, or was it worse before the pandemic?
I say worse now because you had so many people died, and it was so bad to where you would see makeshift freezers where people's loved ones that's dear and close to them was piled up with other bodies like some type of mass genocide or something. And that has to have a mental effect on
Well,
a
I'm gonna
lot of
say
people.
I don't know nobody personally that was in one of those wagons,
Mhm.
so that didn't have any effect on me at all.
Yeah. My
I,
sister,
But you knew people that died.
my
though.
sister,
but not from what he said.
my
Like,
sister, when they was getting ready to go with this particular funeral home, and they said when they came to get her body
yeah.
from her house, they had other bodies in there, and I stopped it.
I'm saying just by being in a house, you start looking at a lot of stuff that you really didn't
Oh,
consider
yeah,
before.
all
that's
that.
the what I'm talking about. It's like how you start viewing stuff, how stuff that you was procrastinating on thinking about, you was forced to think about. A lot of issues you had to come in contact with it because you couldn't go nowhere. And you had to face whatever issues
All
you
those
had.
realities.
Those realities. That's
Yeah.
what I mean. Like
Mhm.
it was like awakening to some people. You know what I'm saying? It was like real, like it was a conscious awakening.
During the pandemic, people had to reimagine their entire lives, right? You
Mhm.
have people that a lot of people lost jobs. A lot of people had careers then that they will never have again. They moved out of states, to whole other places. Also, if you had children, you were confined with your children day in
Right.
and day out.
Like me, I'm gonna use myself for instance. I had like several houses like that I had. I had a condominium. I had a house in Mississippi. I had a house in Houston. You know what I mean? And I was doing it. You know what I mean? But when the pandemic came, it forced me to look at how much money I was spending out with all these things. You know what I mean? And the money, it wasn't coming in like that. It was
Right.
only like going out. So it was like a reality check. You know what I mean? Of like my finances. It really woke me up to the importance of money. You know what I'm saying? And valuing what you have, because in an instant you can lose everything. You know what I mean? No matter how successful you are, how you doing or whatever, like you got to be conscious of your finances, you know what I mean? And make sure that you're taking care of real good business and not out there just, living that life because anything can happen. You know what I mean? So it
I
woke
think
me
too,
up to
as
that.
human beings, we're social. So the pandemic created this sort of unnatural relationship between just us and reality.
Mhm.
Like,
Right. That's what I mean.
It did.
Yeah,
Definitely did.
it really did.
Definitely.
It created that.
And even today, you still see that it's still kind of dry, man. It's still dry.
I mean,
Yeah, life
that
hasn't
takes
returned.
me to this point right here. Like I had like social anxiety, you know what I mean, in a way, because like a lot of people approached me today and they say, "Oh man, I didn't know you was that sharp. I didn't know that you can speak like that." It's
Mhm.
because I didn't waste words on certain people. Like this whole crowd right here is intelligent enough to understand where I'm coming from.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? We can relate to each other. So
Mhm.
it was like I didn't say too much around a lot of people because I knew that they didn't know where I was coming from. So with that saying, I want to use this tour that we're about to go on July 7th all the way to August the 27th to meet new people that want to be a part of the awareness party. I want to create something called the Circle of Brothers. You know what I
And
mean?
this is the tour that Snoop is going on.
The tour that Snoop is doing coming
Wow.
up July 7th. I want to create something to where people can come on my podcast and talk to me and become part of the Circle of Brothers. Like we are the first circle. So other people can become the second circle, the third circle. We want to have 1,000, maybe even 1,000,000 circles of brothers. You know what I mean? In every city. So we can start unifying ourselves back together. You know what I mean? So it's almost like having like NAACP. It's almost like a chapter. You know what I mean? So whoever want to come on my podcast while I'm on the road can come and talk to me. You can hit me up at Doggy Style South Records and DM me and let me know. When I'm in your town, we'll sit down and talk and I can teach you about these 14 points to awareness. What you think, Vince?
Yeah, that'll be a good idea, because it's needed. Just like we spoke about in our first session about unifying all these brothers to structure ourselves to the point where we won't
You
be
said brothers, but it's like any race is allowed to come here. Like you could be
if we
Mexican.
together,
Let me finish, bro.
we
You could be
brothers.
Mexicans, yes. You can be Mexicans, you can be white, Indian, whatever you are, but as long as you're a citizen, you have to be a citizen of the United States to be a part of the Awareness Party. We welcome all.
Mm-hmm. And if you are part of this, we consider this like a brotherhood.
Yeah.
You have to be conscious too, because of what's going on. And what I mean by structuring ourselves, because we have a bunch of issues that's going on, and in a lot of spots we're being phased out. So what I was talking about when I was talking about structure ourselves to the point where we won't be victimized like that, because you got certain people that has a history of being victims, and one of their things they always say is never again.
Right.
You follow what I'm saying? Never again. We need to start taking that same mentality and saying never again, because it seems like for some reason, when we seem like we didn't arrive to a certain point, then we get relaxed, and then here comes another wave to knock us off our axis.
Right.
And we can't,
but you
we
know,
can't
as
allow
long
that.
as we conscious, as long as that we decision-making people, as long as that we get up every day with purpose, as long as we have integrity, as long as we have respect, as long as we, help our community, as long as we reach one, teach one, and then we on the same level. You can never go astray being a conscious person. You're always going to have values that's going to bring you back to who you are and what you're trying to accomplish as a people, as an individual, as, just in general.
I just think it's a huge deal that you're taking us on this tour. Like I'm looking at the Old School Reunion tour with Snoop Dogg, and you guys are going to be in Connecticut, New Jersey, Virginia, New York,
and we want brothers
Utah,
from every
Colorado,
city
Arkansas,
that we
Missouri.
in to sit down and talk to us and spread that philosophy and create that camaraderie.
So along that whole tour,
along the whole
you're
tour,
going to have these sort of discussions.
Have these type of discussions.
That's crazy.
Like every day I'll take time out between the show, and I'll even invite some of the people to the show with their families. You know what I'm saying? So they can be united with us as one. So yes, we're going to try to create that right there and let them, be a part of this. And we need members all over. Like if you in San Diego, if you're 100 miles from Los Angeles, you can form your own circle. So if you're in San Bernardino, you in San Diego, you in San Jose, you in Oakland, you anywhere in California that's 100 miles from Los Angeles, you can have a circle.
I think the power in that too is right now we're so reliant upon corporate driven media to tell us what's going on in other cities where we are. So if you have a community that's able to tell you, hey, this is what's happening here, this is what's happening here, we can kind of learn in real time from one another.
Right. I mean, we
That's
have
power.
like contacts like in every city, you know what I mean, to advocate what we advocating here. It's like a brotherhood. It's like taking care of our neighborhood. It's actually like it take a village to raise a child. So we raising kids up under our umbrella of what
Yeah.
we talking about. We, social conscious about, you know what I'm saying, being a better man, you know what I mean, for yourself as well as for your community.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So basically those are the things that we trying to achieve is that unity, because we don't have no type of social programs that, you know what I mean, that go in the community and take kids like horse bike riding or, constantly giving out like school clothes. And, we need a problem center too. You know what I mean? Like we talked about before, if a kid have a problem, before you make that decision, come and talk to us, let us know. If you got a job interview and you need to learn how to dress, you know what I mean? We can get you some proper attire, you know what I mean? So you can go in there and impress.
I had no idea until we were talking earlier that it was in the 70s that you all actually had a problem center here in Long Beach.
We had a problem.
The crazy
center.
thing is we have all this grant money in the city, a health department that's supposed to be like doing things. There's no problem center in the city.
Right, because nobody wants a problem center. Like I told you before, you and DeAndrews was the only brother that I can reach out to. And I choose you because I helped you in your campaign.
You did.
You know what I mean? So I know that you the one. I mean, you that brother, that 1%. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't find another one. I don't know where DeAndrews is at. You know what I mean? I would
He's
like
still
to reach
around.
out
He's doing
to him one
things.
day.
I think he might be even running again for the 6th. I heard some news about that. I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, he's still around though. He's still around.
Yeah, you that 1% though, bro. You know what I'm saying? And I'm sure it's other brothers like you in other cities that's already active with their community. That's what we looking for, people that's active in their community and people that want to make a difference to join us with us, you know what I mean, like here in Los Angeles. And we are the first circle. This is number 1 right here, and we're looking for other people to join us so we can protect our neighborhoods, you know what I mean, and, be on one accord. So basically, that's what it is. You know what I mean?
That.
So
I like that.
So, and generational curses, I want to talk about that too. I want to say that, a lot of people, they got to take in mind that when they're around kids, they can't be using drugs or using profanity or showing these kids the wrong way to behave in society. You got to be like a role model,
When you
to
say
these kids.
generational curse, do you mean like God is cursing us?
No,
or
I
we're
mean
passing on bad traits?
like people putting 40 ounces in the baby bottle. You know what I'm saying? And tell the baby, you know what I'm saying, this is this is some gang stuff. You know what I'm saying? Telling these babies how to represent themselves. Got babies 5 years old with their pants hanging down and throwing up the gang signs and stuff, and like women that's like their mothers is on the county, you know what I'm saying? And then they get on the county and then they have kids, to get like money instead of going out and getting a job. Like generational curses is like some of the things that we've been dealing with. What you think, Vince?
When it comes to generational curses, man, I'm gonna say this. We talked about the crack cocaine era. A lot of kids was displaced, put in foster care. Some of them were on drugs, and they were little babies, and they had to detox them. And a lot of them weren't taught nothing, and they had to raise themselves. And so all the stuff that you see, the cursing in front of the kids, the playing different music that's talking about sex in front of the little girls, watching little babies twerk and laughing and thinking it's cute.
Yeah.
That's because they wasn't taught nothing. And now they raising kids that started having the kids, they wasn't taught nothing. And so you see generation after generation that's not a blessing, that's a curse. You follow what I'm saying? Anytime you see a child calling their mama a bitch, talking about my daddy a buster, he got kicked off the set, and we was from the same hood. You follow what I'm saying? That's not a blessing. That's a curse. You follow what I'm saying? But you got generation after generation that think that's right because they don't know nothing else.
And we got to get back to the mentality of the Frederick Douglass, the Booker T. Washington, the Denmark Vesey, the Marcus Garvey. We got to get back to those philosophies. Because when we had those philosophies, we was buying businesses. We was like, getting stuff done. But then we got into, the Freeway Rickies, you know what I'm saying? The Frank Lucas. We got into all those type of different characters that brought a different breed, you know what I'm saying, of our people. It's not like the Malcolm X, like Vince is wearing right there, was one of our leaders. Medgar Evers, Tom Bradley, you know what I'm saying? The International Airport is named after a black man. A black man died, Medgar Evers. He died in Mississippi. Now, the airport, when you fly into there, you fly into Medgar Evers because he stood for something. He knew that they was going to kill him, just like Martin Luther King knew that he was going to kill them, but they stood for something. They meant something to us. When he died, when Martin Luther King died, we all cried. We cried tears. You ain't going to get that type of tears out of nobody for our people now. Ain't nobody that we'll cry for the way we cried then. We felt them people. That's what we got to get back.
He built that relationship.
Yeah, because he gave his life for the cause. You know what I mean? Fred Hampton, he gave his life for the cause. Like certain people knew that they was going to die, but they still did it anyway because it was the reason why they lived. They was here for that, like Jesus, if you believe in Jesus Christ.
And we became complacent and less vigilant, and a lot of stuff that they had died for got snatched back.
It's gone. Because they erased that. They did that systematically. Erased all our history. They erased the things that made us coming up from the 50s, to the integration of the schools. Like, we was getting beat. We was getting beat in Mississippi, Louisiana, Memphis, Tennessee, Texas. They was beating us because we was coming out there trying to vote. They didn't want us to learn how to read or none of that, but we persisted. Like I talked about before, we didn't came so far. We didn't Tyler Perry, I spoke on that. He owned BET, VH1, like Oprah Winfrey owned her own network. We didn't came within 100 years. We didn't surpass the expectations of ourselves. We are brilliant, man. We brilliant. And we are leaders of the earth, of the planet. Ain't nobody bigger than us.
But there's so many of us that have been left behind and aren't having that experience. And you're talking about that generational curse. I was at, there's this church, they're having their convocation, and Donnie McClurkin came and he preached. Donnie McClurkin literally gets up in front of that congregation. It's like Church of God in Christ. And he says to them, listen, you all have all been church, meaning everyone there is people that go to church all the time. He's like, we have to go beyond these walls. Because if we're not going beyond these walls, if we keep judging other people and condemning people for not being holy and this, whatever, not being Christian enough, then we're not doing God's work. And to me, I didn't expect him to say that directly in that environment. And so when you were talking about generational curses, I'm looking at this and I'm like, so much of the leadership, we've talked about the Black church, in Long Beach, they are the only huge property owners left in the city. There's so much opportunity there to impact generational curses with those leaders. But if those leaders don't have real relationships with real people that live here, then the impact is lost. And what Donnie McClurkin was saying is the impasse, the block.
But we have knowledge that's been written. It's been written. You can't erase books. We have all kind of books to bring us back to where we were.
But we have to stop hating on each other, though.
Yeah, but I'm saying the generational curse is like something that's like, they celebrating 50 years of hip hop, right? I think some of those artists should be taken out. Like,
really?
Yeah, I believe that the ones that contribute like good vibrations, to us should be showcased. But the ones that poison our kids' minds should be discontinued. They shouldn't be like pushed to the forefront because you didn't kill and hurt so many people advocating something that you're not, that people actually, believe. I talked about that the last
Some people
show that
might
we
say
was
that's
on.
part of the cancel culture.
It does, like, it is a part of the generation that we don't, like, certain aspects of the music should be disqualified. Like, I love hip hop, you know what I mean? But I knew what it did to me when I was young. Like, when I was young, like in the 90s, you know what I mean? Like 1990, 1991, it like really talked to me. I mean, it really had me like I was a menace to society. I was like, I listened to that stuff and I roll down the street. If I see you, I'm rolling up on you.
So you're telling me that back then, if you hadn't heard that music, it could have changed some of the steps
I mean,
you
if
took.
I was listening to the Delphonics or the Stylistics, I don't think that I would have the same mentality
That's deep.
as listening to you. If I would listen to the OJs, I don't think I'll roll up on you like I'll roll up on you if I was listening to Ice Cube
That's
or
deep.
Spice One. If I was listening to Spice One, the giggity gangster nigga, you know what I'm saying? I was on you, man. But if I turn this shit and I'm looking at, he's all right, Rick James or somebody, I probably wouldn't feel the same way I feel. It really, like, now I'm old enough to know that it's no music that can dictate my thoughts or
Right,
nothing
but when
like
you're
that.
a teenager or early adult, it's not the same.
It's not the same. So, you really, like when they talk about Molly's and Percocets and ecstasies and all that, you really, your mind, like, I know people that's like, using drugs at 40. Like, they never used drugs before when they was younger, but now they sprung out like on drugs. And I think some of that is dealing with the music that they choose and the crowd that they choose to be around. Like, if you're an older cat and you hang around with some young heads, you probably get influenced by them to take this and then take that. And now they don't use one drug, bruh, they use all drugs. It's no drug of choice. If they use crystal meth, they'll use crack, they'll use mollies, alcohol, weed, they use all drugs. Sherm, whatever you give them, they use it.
Wow.
Yeah, and Marvin Gaye and James Brown, Say It Loud, I'm Black and Proud, you know what I mean? All them, the music had an impact on people where it made people want to get involved consciously. And so he right. When you got music that's negative, then it can sway you to be negative, man.
Yeah, I never went out and did nothing off something like Outkast, you know what I'm saying, or Nelly, or something like, it's certain artists that, Twister, it's certain artists that didn't give you that type of, like that the West Coast artists, it give you that, that sense of, because that's what the culture is. The culture is more gang banging, you know what I'm saying? So it sets you up, it sells you what you want to hear to create who you can become. This super hard dude that's going to end up dying and having a big ass funeral, because that's all you're going to get. You're going to get a big ass funeral. And then when they plant you, ain't nobody going to remember you in 6 months. I think Dr. Dre is one of the greatest producers of all times. I think Snoop Doggy Dogg is one of the most laid back rappers of all time, fabulous. I think Jay-Z is great. I think DMX is great. I think all those guys are great. And I think the whole genre was great.
But you're talking about the message.
Some messages in the music is not right. I mean, but I think it gave Black people a platform to speak from. I think that it gave us a lot of jobs. It created a lot of job opportunities. I think it's a great thing that was created, but I think the music, I think artists should let people know, like I said before, at the end, who they really are, that they're not this person. And these are just thoughts that's created like a movie, like Friday the 13th or Jason or something like Michael Myers or something. It's just a movie. Like, his lyrics is just, it's not real. So don't take this and go with it, because this is just thoughts that I have.
I thought it was interesting, like the documentaries, there's a whole bunch of documentaries on Pac. And when they show the parts of his life that were into the arts, dance, and you see different aspects of him, you realize,
I went to that premiere.
That's why his music was so different, because he had all these influences that were not like West Coast rap at all,
Who-
right?
You talking about Tupac, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but then he started assimilating to West Coast. That's what I think that caused his demise, because he started assimilating to our lifestyle. He started speaking on something that he didn't really understand. He didn't know that, you can ask. I think he knew, but you can die from this. This is not something that you play with. You don't take our lifestyle and start living it, because it's going to catch you. It's going to hurt you. Like, we die for real. And if you want to take us and you want to take our lifestyle and you put it on a platform like that, somebody probably come and get you. We ain't playing. Like, this is not a joke. You can't go out and say that you this and you that if you not, because we going to come get you. Be ready to die.
I ain't ready. I ain't ready, Warren.
I'm just saying,
I ain't
like,
ready.
No,
I hear you.
I mean, you go to the 70s when they called the movies back then, they would call them black exploitation films. Why? Because now everybody want to be pimps. Everybody wanted to be gangsters. You follow what I'm saying? So it changed the narrative in the neighborhood too. You had less people that wanted to be like Malcolm. You had less people wanted to be like the Black Panther Party. You know what I mean? They got the Brams on, the Godfathers. You follow what I'm saying? They got the little, some of them even more had a little spoon, I guess, for the snort cocaine. So this influenced a lot of people too. But like I say, when we become less vigilant, here it come again in a different form to destroy us.
But Warren, you talked about Frank Lucas, right? And to your point, like when you watch the movie with Denzel, you see that like what got him into a lot of trouble was when he started being flashy. But most of his success, a lot of it came from him kind of keeping it down, just, you know what I mean? And a lot of hip hop is pushing a whole
over
nother
$200
image.
million. There's no way he couldn't be flashy. There's no way, because his house represent him, his car represent him. You can't hide $200 million. Like, you're gonna be seen as different. Like, you got friends, they're gonna know that you're doing great, and they're gonna tell it. So you can't hide that type of success. Even if you're a drug lord, you really can't hide it. Like, we don't know, like, if you a CEO of Microsoft or, something big like that, we don't actually know how much money you got, but we know you got a lot of money. But if we know that you pushing 500 kilos, 1,000 kilos a week, we know what type of money, because we can do the math. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
So
Yeah,
you
I hear
can't
you.
hide that type of money, man. You can't do it. So, all that right there. Frank Lucas was he was he was assigned at the time. He utilized what he learned. Vietnam, they was using drugs over there, and he just, capitalized on selling drugs to our people. You know what I mean? Through the Vietnamese. He was flying that stuff over here on airplanes in the tons, in the boatloads. So he utilized what he thought was a hustle. You know what I mean? At that time, we was losing, what he took away what was established, because in Harlem, it was a lot of Black-owned business, and it still is a lot of Black-owned businesses in Harlem. You know what I mean? So, yeah, Frank Lucas, I give him the thumbs down, man.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big deal when Warden says that, some music in hip hop needs to be basically kind of put in the closet and not
it
showcased.
Should be like, they got explicit lyrics. Glorified. Yeah, it got explicit lyrics on it, so it lets you know what it's advocating. But these people who live in these type of dream lives, like they gangsters, they should not do that. You know what I mean? Because they're not gangsters. It's just their music. You know what I mean? So it's like little kids emulate them, to be like them entirely. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about every aspect of them. But if they take away that image and just have the artist part, let a kid aspire to be like you as an artist, not as a person that advocate that you will pull an AK and let them have it, and you come to their house and do all this destruction. You know what I mean?
Let them see that work ethic. That's what was. But you don't find out about the work ethic until the artist is dead. So like that documentary on Pac, I'm watching it, and for me, the part of it that was inspirational was when he started talking about how much work they were going to get done. He was
All
going to
right,
put
you
out.
just said like the artist is dead. Like Nipsey Hussle was a real dude. Nipsey Hussle was who he said he was. Like he was an intelligent dude. He was like he was different. You know what I mean? But I can say that he was who he said he was. There wasn't nothing fake about Nipsey at all. Nipsey was a real dude.
But did people know, did the public know about the amount of work and the work ethic he had to be where he was? That's what I mean. These
Yeah, the
kids,
public
they don't know.
his story has been highlighted. Yeah, people know, but I'm saying I'm certifying that
Yeah.
Nipsey was a real dude. Like what he spoke on, he lived it. Like he didn't speak about nothing that he didn't live. Like he was
He was
one of the
authentic.
ones that I can say is a real dude. And I could say Snoop is a real dude because Snoop is my cousin and I work for him and he's been solid with me ever since the 70s. He is a real dude. He is who he say he is. I can vouch for that. You know what I'm saying? It's like some of them, I don't want to get into that. You know what I'm saying? Dub C is a real dude. You know what I'm saying? I fuck with Dub C. He's a real dude. Daz Dillinger is a real dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know the ones that's real, but I know the ones that's not. That's all I'm saying. E40 is a real dude. You know what I'm saying? Too Short is a real dude. Them are like real people. They are who they say they are. So that's what I'm saying.
So
like,
ones who aren't real, are you saying that they're the ones that do more harm to these kids that are watching it because they're putting it on thicker?
money intensify your personality. If you didn't have no money, and then when you get money, it allows you to think different. It allows you to become something sometimes that you're not. It intensifies you 50 folds, bro. It makes you like you invincible. You know what I'm saying? So it creates this monster that's not reality because they protect it. Like they are protected. You're not finna actually get to them. They know that they got people all around their house. You're not finna come to their house. So they feel comfortable in saying certain shit. You know what I'm saying? Because they got like guards and shit like all around their house. When you see them in public, you're not finna just run up on them because they got goons and shit. I know that because I'm a goon my motherfucking self, so I know how that operate. You know what I'm saying?
So you're saying that the same Snoop that you knew in
I'm
the
not
70s
talking about Snoop.
is the same.
Snoop is my cousin, man.
Yeah.
The same Snoop that I knew in the 70s is the same Snoop that
That's what I'm
I know
asking.
today. But I'm not talking
Right.
about Snoop. I'm talking about the ones that it's not real. I'm talking about people who talk shit because they know they can, because you can't get to them, man. You're not finna just run up on this dude and sock him in his head without motherfuckers beating your ass. So that shit gives them the courage to talk shit about shit. Like they get on a mic and be, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Nigga, see me out there. Nigga know what it is. You know what I'm saying? Nigga, I'm going to do, man, nigga, you ain't
But that's
finna
because
do
they're so
nothing.
protected.
Because they so protected. They
Right.
not finna do shit, man.
And they got these young people out there looking and thinking that this is really them, but they faking. That's basically what he's saying.
Yeah, they faking, man. They not real like that, bro. They not built like that. You catch them to where, you know, it's like if you happen to get up on them, and then they're going to be, oh, no, man. Basically, no. Hey, look, I'm not saying that. If you get up on them, that's who they really are.
Mm-hmm.
That's who they talk like when they talk to their accountants and their lawyers and shit. When they talk to you, they like, yeah, you know what I'm saying, nigga, just, you know, basically, but no, that's not who they are. They're, hey, look, what I'm going to do is invest in this 401k and make sure that I can father my career.
Wow.
That's who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Those people. Those are wolves in sheep clothing.
You know, it's a trip. Remember, we was in Anaheim at the time, and Ricky Ross there was there. He had his rappers there. Then 2 days later, I seen him at a gas station. I said, Rick, man, I just seen you in Anaheim. He said, yeah, man, I'm promoting my little rappers, right? And I said, man, did Rick Ross ever pay you for using his name? And he said, no. You know what I mean? Now, you using a cat's name that's well known. Everybody know who Ricky Ross is because of the federal situation, the dope situation, and everybody know who you are because they said that you used to be a correctional officer.
Right.
But people listen to him and they be like, yeah, and they vibe off of it and they love it. But is he really who he say he is?
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's the question.
Yeah, the same thing when he mentioned Larry Hoover. Remember?
I just go in to say that, you know what I'm saying, some people, you know, advocate that they are something that they not, you know what I'm saying, and it's something that they going to have to deal with when the reals catch up with them. The reals always catch them, and then they always change their mind in public, and people hear about it, you know what I'm saying, and be like, oh, this dude is not who he say he was, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, because of personal relationships, you know what I'm saying, with my job, I can't get into like certain people or talk bad about certain people, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, it's people out there that advocate to be something that they're not, and they really need to stop. You know what I'm saying?
And it's dangerous too. Remember when Rick Ross mentioned Larry Hoover, they said them boys was on him.
Right.
Are you connected like that to even speak his name? You know what I mean?
Well, you know what else too? I think one of the things that it does is that a lot of times our people have these interactions with the police and they want to boss up as if, you know, something they might hear in a lyric.
Right.
And then it ends up turning dangerous when they actually need to be humble when in the presence of police, because we need to leave that situation alive.
Right.
And so that's where I'm completely with you on the music and its influence, but especially if the voice that they're listening to is someone that wouldn't even behave like that in front of law enforcement, but is projecting that inside the album. It's like you're putting other people's lives at risk.
We knew that Superman couldn't fly. We know that Spider-Man don't have webs. You know what I'm saying? Aquaman can't jump in the ocean and swim to China without coming out for air. Like, we know all these things, you know, but we're adults. So as kids, they can't grasp that somebody would go. Like I told you before, you know what I'm saying? Like along in our first session of Vince, I spoke on, I couldn't believe, I thought that the police actually had mental telepathy. I thought that somehow they're able to track my mind or something, the way they used to come to my house every time I committed a crime. I didn't know that my friends was telling on me. It never dawned on me that my friends was telling on me until one time, one of my homies came to my house in the back of the police car and pointed to my house. I seen him. I was looking out the window.
Engine Joe was here.
And then they came and they got me and put me in the back seat with him.
Wow.
That's when I realized that people was actually telling on me. They used to always come to my house, any stolen bikes, mini bikes, a dog, whatever. They came to my house and said I did it. Now, most of the time, they were lying. I did do it. I never been convicted. I mean, I never went to jail for nothing I didn't do but one time. Everything I did. Everything they said I did it. And I couldn't figure out how they knew I was doing it.
Oh, your own friends.
That my friends was telling on me, man. I couldn't believe that.
And they was out there when they was real young.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It's like I couldn't believe that, just like you wouldn't believe, a little kid wouldn't believe that this person is not who they say they are. They'd invested so much energy into this person to be like that person. You're taking away their identity when you say that he's not who you.
Right. I love the way you said that. They feel like you're taking away their identity.
If you say Lil Wayne is not Lil Wayne, you're taking away an image that they project for themselves. Like sometimes it's to them, it's better to be somebody else than to actually be themselves. They go through life being somebody else.
I'm working through that with one of my daughters right now. I'm working through that with one of my daughters right now.
That's what I mean. So that's the thing that I'm saying, man. And you got to be aware. I just want to say this to y'all. You got to be aware of who you tell your business to, because 20% of the people, they don't give a fuck about it, and 80% of them, they glad you have that fucking problem, man. There's a lot of misery in the world, and misery loves company.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? You got to make sure who you share your goals, your ambitions with. And if you show me a person friends, I will know what kind of successful, if they're going to be successful or not.
Mm-hmm.
Because you gather around those that equally to you. So
They say equally yoked. It's the same thing with
Right.
friends. You know what I mean? You around dudes that ain't trying to do nothing for themselves. Then 9 times out of 10, you're not really trying to do nothing for yourself.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that's why we got to create this panel and create this round table, you know what I'm saying? So we can, start like doing stuff. And if they need leadership, you know what I mean, we can lead, you know what I mean? And they can lead us. We can share different ideas. You know what I'm saying? This is not a Democratic thing. This is not an independent thing. This is not a Republican thing. This is a brotherhood.
I think the benefit too is the fact of the matter is Southern California Black population is dwindling. For me to be able to connect with people that are doing well in Dallas, Texas.
Yeah, because
in
we're going to
Atlanta,
need
that's a
those
big deal.
connections. If
That's a
they
big
said,
deal.
like, it's like a law. I saw on the news the other day, a large part of California have moved and are continuing to move because of the housing prices. It's too expensive out here to live. So you got to have networks in other places,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
get to, because here it's like,
The
it's
politics is toe up, man.
here.
Yeah, oh, it's very toe up. I mean, look at LA. Like I say, they got the largest homeless population in the United States. Yet you bringing people from other countries and saying that you're gonna house them or take care of them, and you're not even taking care of your citizens.
Right. That's
Yeah.
I think like we was talking about before, I think that's dealing with like for those votes. I think they trying to get them in, make them citizens because it's not a whole bunch of like white people coming over here like from Europe and different countries because they comfortable like in the countries that they in. You never seen a big fluctuation of white people coming from Switzerland or, you know what I'm saying? Like they don't even let the ones over here from Ukraine, you know what I mean? Because they're not trying to leave their home front. They're comfortable to where they are. You know what I'm saying? It's just like people like, in South America and like Haiti and different places, they want to come, here because of the opportunity. You know what I mean? But when those people come here, they become like part of certain parties. And more of them become Democrat than they do Republican or independent.
They do.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I think it's about. I think it's about the vote because, in Texas, they voting Republican. You know what I'm saying? Georgia, basically Republican. Like those people are multiplying in those states. And, if they don't get a fluctuation of new Democrats in, that Democrats going to lose all the time. You know what I mean? So it's basically the vote. Do you think that's what motivate them to get other people in the country or is it another reason?
In California, though, even the immigrants are, whether they come in legally or illegally, they're avoiding coming to California and going to other states, often red states.
You said that
when immigrants are coming into the U.S., currently, I think it's since 2020 when they did the census, and the research is saying that they're even deciding not to come into the state of California.
It ain't no more room
because of the prices.
I've seen them out there, like the hotel people is finna go on strike. You know what I'm saying? Because they can't afford to like live in Los Angeles. Who is the most majority of people that work at the hotel as the cooks, as the maids, it's starting to get hard for them to live. Like, because, when you get Americanized, you start changing your values.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So the ones that was able to live in the house, sharing the house with 2 and 3 different families are getting so Americanized that they can no longer do that. You know what I'm saying? They feeling like Americans now. So they start losing the foreign values of like, yeah, we can all live together. No, they want their own spot now. So therefore, they want their own money. I don't think that they was prepared for that part. Like, they're going to start like striking more and striking more because the more you become a more Americanized, the more that you're going to want. Like they was getting over with these little McDonald's and Burger King jobs and all that, but the economy is going up. They're going to need more money. So they're going to start striking and they're going to quit those jobs too.
or just move out of the state. Let me ask you this,
Yeah,
Warden.
so that's a good point. What
Yeah.
you said, they're going somewhere else because all the resources are being like pushed to the limit.
And they're going into red states. But let me ask you this. What state in the US do you think, when you adjust for cost, meaning making all things equal, which state has the worst poverty?
Memphis. I would say Memphis, Tennessee have like Flint, Michigan, Memphis, Tennessee, St. Louis, Detroit. It's several of them because there's certain like places in St. Louis where it's a whole block gone. Like it ain't no people over there. Like the houses are still there, but it ain't no people. Like for 3 blocks. In Detroit, it's places to where it ain't no people there for 3 blocks. In Flint, Michigan, it's like, man, bro, I've been in all these places.
I think it was Arkansas.
Yeah,
What about
Arkansas is
Arkansas?
bad too, but
They said
Arkansas
that was the poorest state out of all of
it ain't like these states, Vince. I'm talking about it's poor, but it's a difference between poor and demolished.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about it's like you going on Salt Lake and ain't nobody in none of the houses. Like in Cleveland, they got places like that to where it ain't nobody in the houses, man.
And you're right, because they called Detroit the dead city.
Man, it's like, you know, they
So
took
check
the
this
motor
out.
out the city.
According to the data, the state that has the nation's worst cost-adjusted poverty rate
Mhm.
is California.
What?
So bad. Y'all,
I mean, because
What?
if you're looking at, because California got 40 million people.
Yes.
So California is the 5th largest economy in the world. Brother, I'm talking about like China.
that's true.
Yeah.
But blacks in California earn roughly the same or slightly less than blacks in Mississippi.
Yeah, I know. I know. It's the same.
Yes.
But
But it goes to the point that you were
it's
making the last time.
because California, it's only 3 million people in Mississippi. It's 3 million people in Mississippi. My family is from Mississippi. It's 40 million people in California. It's a big difference of
But it's
that.
also because the lower paying jobs, so California has increased lower paying jobs, but has decreased high paying wages. And those blue collar jobs are being taken away. Those blue collar jobs were the ones that your parents or grandparents came to the state of California
Middle-class
for.
jobs.
Mhm.
And now those are being taken away.
Right. I mean, yeah,
And
it's
just
like it's the same. That's what I was saying when I was saying that you would, if you go to like a place like Dallas or you go to Houston, you will be, you can get in there and you can really do it. You know what I mean? Because they will pay you the houses. Like you can get for $550,000, bro. You can get a house like damn near 4,000 square feet. Nice. I'm talking about a nice ass house that you can pay off before you die. You can get a house for $250,000, a nice house. California, you're not getting that, bro. California, even if you buy a manufactured house for $150,000, you got to pay $2,200 of lot fees every month. That's more than rent. So, I mean, even though
once you get the house manufactured, where are you going to put it?
No, you can
That's
buy
the whole
one in
thing.
Huntington Beach that's already manufactured. You can buy it for $150,000. But what I'm saying is the lot fee is going to be $2,200 a month.
Exactly.
Who can afford it?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That's even a manufactured house. So it's set up for the rich. I think after a while, it's going to be a tropical paradise for the rich.
What is the purpose of having everything so expensive to you, running everybody out? What is California's purpose? What are they trying to do?
I mean, maybe they want, like they didn't have 20 years ago, it wasn't 40 million people here. It was like 20 million. So they got a fluctuation of too many people. It costs them a lot of money for their hospitals, for all of this. They putting strain on the resources. So they got to intensify all the taxes and everything in order to maintain. This California is like Germany. It's the same amount of people in Germany as in California. It's 40 million people in Germany. It's 40 million people in California. California is the 5th largest economy, Vince, in the world. I'm talking about it's going up against like China It's going up against
Like
Japan.
countries.
It's
Yeah.
going up against countries, bruh. That's how much money California got. California produces 1/3 of the fruit and vegetables in the world. That's our power. That's why people are scared of us, because how much food we produce. That's why China won't knock us out, because we produce too much apples, too many oranges, too many carrots, too much food. We produce 1/3 of the fruit and vegetables in the world. Did you know that, Franklin?
I did. But you know, the other thing that's going on, and as to your question, is that there's a big lie, and that's the California dream. And the reality is a lot of our policies are being driven by billionaire progressives. And they create things like climate change policies. And they create regulations that make it so expensive to even build a home in California that people are priced out, and then they're moving inland, right? And then they'll make a policy saying, well, in 2035, everybody has to have an electric vehicle. Well, for poor people, a car is their survival mechanism.
Right.
But how are they going to afford a $50,000 electric vehicle? And then the price of electricity in California is astronomical compared to other states.
I was going to ask y'all about healthcare. Like, do you have a healthcare provider?
Yeah.
How much do you pay for that, like monthly?
It's coming out of my wife's job. I'm not sure what that is monthly.
Well, I just recently went ahead and got healthcare. And I went to my urologist, and he was like, we don't take this. You know what I mean? So it was what is it? Not a PPO. It was
It's an HMO, PPO.
HMO. Yeah. So I was like, I went to Quest Diagnostics to have a test done. You know what I mean? It cost $2,800, man. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't accept it. So I'm paying $400 a month for this policy. So I changed it over, you know what I'm saying, to a PPO. I changed it over to the PPO, but it's like $400.
Which is going to cost you more.
Yeah, $400. It's probably like, I think it's $475 now, or $506. It's $506. So it's $506. Like, man, if I wasn't in the situation I'm in to be able to afford that, you know what I mean? Like, if I add my cell phone bill on that, that's $700, bro. You know what I'm saying? Then like, food expenses and, rent and all the other stuff, bro. You got to actually have, you got
to have bread.
Yeah.
People talk, like we talked about mental health today, and people talk about mental health and mental health access. My daughter, she's been in need of therapy because of some things going on. And so, but the therapist didn't accept our insurance. I'm having to come out of pocket, and it's like $180 a session.
Well, I can turn you on to mine. I got a good person, a counselor that, hers is like $60. She real good. She worked with my sister. My sister got a PhD and a master's degree. My sister run facilities. She's a psychiatrist. I got actually two sisters. I'm going to have them on the show. One of my sisters ran the biggest homeless facility in California, in Los Angeles.
That's crazy.
And she worked for the Department of Correction in Louisiana. She runs the rehabilitation. She write the rehabilitation from when you get out of prison. She did it for the governor in Mississippi too. I'm going to have both of them on the show.
I didn't know about your sister. All I knew about was TP.
Yeah, my sister's got like PhDs and master's degrees. Both of them are clinical psychiatrists. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to have them on the show the next time to share. Like, my sister ran that big facility downtown Los Angeles. Yeah, like hold like 10,000 people for homeless people.
See, that's what's so important
like
about
that. My sister was on Love and Hip Hop. She was the psychiatrist for like Lil Romeo and all them that raising up hip hop for the kids that was on that show. She was on that show.
Okay.
And my sister's a doctor. Mm. You know what I mean? Dr. Marianne Collins is my sister. So I'm going to have her on the show.
Last time I
both
seen
of
her, she was a baby.
Right. So.
You remember her growing up?
Yeah, you know both of my, my whole family, my mother, everybody. You know what I mean? So that's why I said it's my friend, man.
Mm-hmm. You wasn't in that car ratting them out. Huh? You wasn't in that police car ratting out the water.
No, he taught us about what a rat is.
I'm older than them.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
taught us what a
yeah,
rat
yeah.
is. Like, I didn't know until I had to tell him. He was like, well, he snitched on you. I didn't know what it was. I was that young, man.
Yeah,
I came out the
yeah,
house when I was like 7, man.
yeah.
Like
They was
7 years old.
they
Like,
was
I
real
ran
young.
the streets. Like, I used to go to parties with him. They create a measuring thing because of us. We used to come to the party with him, and like we couldn't get in. Like they created that because of us. Everywhere you should go, like step up to the thing.
Remember, I was telling
They
you.
still don't let
about-
me
And
in. I'm
he'll
too
come
short
and
even
open up the
now.
window, and we'll come through the back window.
Hey, remember I was telling you about Scooby? He said, man, yeah, I was in. He said, man, you remember popping? He said, man, and all of them was real little. They was in YA with him.
They're like, not
And
now.
Nellis.
Right,
Everybody was all in Nellis with
right,
him. Yeah, my boy School, man.
Yeah, man, we came a long way though, man. You know what I'm saying? It's still going, man. It's still getting it together, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm hoping that we able to, you know what I'm saying, make a difference in our community, you know what I mean, with our starting with our problem center. Get our own problem center. You know what I mean? I know our churches, you've been going to our churches and you know they like whittling down, like, you know, so that's our stronghold right there, you know.
We got to make sure we don't
I wanted
lose
to
those
ask you something
properties.
too about, because he just mentioned about the churches.
Yeah.
You know, you have a lot of people that are pastors that do a lot of compromising, and that turn people off too, because we was just talking earlier about the thing about the changing of the name and the gender thing. You know, when you look in the biblical scripture, sometimes people know when certain things are what you call it, a damnation or something like that, or considered a sin, but they look the other way because of this now and won't even speak on it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Vince, I ain't gonna talk about the black preacher, you know, but you know how they depict him, you know, in movies. He's always like, you know, that they give him that little money on the side, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, New Jack City and all that, you know, they get a pass of that money and he turn his head to a lot of stuff that's going on because that's how he actually get paid. Most of them is how they pay their rent is from the congregation. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of them be financed like that. So if a drug dealer or whoever come in and play like he down with the community for reasons outside of what it really is, and he hit the pastor with a little something, most of the time the pastor, you know, he turn an eye.
You know, I could name drop on some preachers in Long Beach, but I'm not going to do that. But I will say this, though. There are I respect 3 pastors in Long Beach, but I'll talk about 2 of them. One is at St. Luke's Holy Baptist Church, and Hank is over there. What I love about that pastor is that he actually has relationships with people from the hood, like Crips. I didn't know they were Crips, so I started running for mayor, and I started meeting them, and they were like, "Hey, come to my church." And it was like, my pastor's a big homie. And I'm like, what is going on here? But like, he's real good people at St. Luke's and really entrenched with the community. The other one is, there's this church called Greater Harvest. His name is Pastor Johnson. And what I love about him is he brought in Rockhead. And Rock's over there, they're actually starting to build a system so that when people come home from re-entry, they have peer support group to come into. They just had a meeting last week. So there are those pastors here that are doing that kind of work. But then you have others that, you know, live far away and not really entrenched with the community.
Speedy, yeah, he does this thing. And damn you, anything you ask him to do, he coming. You know what I mean? Eulogies, all that. I mean, he a real good brother. And then it's a
I love
female,
Pastor Speedy.
and it's a female pastor that a lot of people don't know, Pastor Carruthers. Jerry Carruthers, she real good. You know, she used to be right there.
I know the Carruthers' last name. Is she related to that family?
Yeah, the ones have property and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She used to have a church right there on Long Beach Boulevard in Eagle, but now her church is in Linwood. But I mean, the sister is, when it comes to social issues and stuff like that, and spirituality, she on point. But you have a lot of people that have them, I don't want to say chauvinistic values, because everybody had their own belief system. But, you know, sometimes it be hard on women preachers. As a matter of fact, she the one did my wedding right there at New Hope Church. And after she did that, they said, can't no woman do that no more. Maybe they didn't know she was our pastor was going to be a woman at the time. But yeah,
He had brought up an issue about Monarch. What's the name of that park? They had the Juneteenth
Oh, it was
celebration.
in Leimert Park.
Yeah.
Leimert Park, Juneteenth. They had to end it early. I think the artist Jasmine Sullivan, she was about to perform, but they had to cut off.
He was saying something about something
Well,
happened.
it was this McDonald's.
Yeah,
First they thought it was a shooting, whatever, but what was really happening was at this McDonald's, all these youth, unfortunately, they were black youth. They came in and it was kind of like a smash and grab thing. They were kind of intimidating the employees there, and it was like a mob of people. Ultimately, they took out the cash register, threw it on the ground. Cash came out. They took the cash. Didn't even look like a lot of cash.
Yeah, but they just passed a law about that about a week ago or so that, like things like that, smash and grabs, like, thefts, petty thefts and stuff like that. The police is not going to arrest you for that. Like, the judge just passed it that, you're going to be released. Like, they're not going, I don't know if it's because the finances is running out, you know what I mean? They don't have money for that, you know what I mean? I don't know what the thing is, but I know that the state is rich. I know that the state is rich with like resources. I don't know about the systems in the state. I don't know like the jails, like, because they don't really take you like they used to. Like the probation departments, it used to be like when you went to camp, you got out, you was on probation.
Mm-hmm.
They had some people out of prison on probation. Then they had parole. They don't have all that stuff no more. I don't know. It's because the system is breaking down or,
they tried to blame it on social justice.
Somebody told me probation was worse than parole now.
Yeah, but I'm talking about they don't have it like as much as they used to. They like now, when you used to get out of prison, like your parole officer would have to buy you clothes and shoes. He would have to put you in like a sober living. He had to pay your rent like every month, Vince.
That's not
when I got
now.
out of prison, that's the way it was. Now they don't have the resources for that. Like,
if your family doesn't do that, you can go into just nothing.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Like the resources, like the way they used to arrest us, it used to be like lucrative. Like they used to come and get us and take us to jail because they created a network of making money off us. Like, and now that network it
dried
broke,
up.
It dried up. They don't have the network to make money off of us no more. It's more of a burden than it is as a prosperity.
Yeah.
So even the judge passed that law, right, is what I was going to say. The judge passed that law about the smash and grabs and all that. Did neither the sheriff, the chief of police, the city district, nobody opposed it.
Mm-hmm. And what law was that?
That if somebody go inside a jewelry store, smash and grab, go inside a McDonald's, rip it up, go inside, like crimes like that are not punishable by the law. They're not going to even lock you up for it, bro.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And what I'm saying is the chief of police, the Los Angeles Sheriff Department, and some type of councilman did not oppose the law by the judge. He just passed it about a week ago.
I know that I'm not up to speed on that one, but I know that if you steal under a certain amount of dollars, you basically will not.
That's what I'm saying. But now he made it an actual law. You know what I'm saying? That you're not going to even have to bail out. They're just going to let you out on your own reconnaissance. They're not going to do none of that. I'm trying to see.
We have to have accountability.
I'm trying to see, is it because it's financial? Like, is that because they don't have the money in order to hold you? That's why I think the chief of police and all them, because they want crime to keep happening. More they let you out, the more you're going to commit crime and the more they're going to have their job. That's why I think that they didn't oppose it, because they want crime can continue. What police don't want no crime? Well, what are they going to hire you for? They're going to start doing cutbacks.
Real talk.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I think they didn't oppose it, because they want you to continue to doing it.
But we also need to there has to be some sort of accountability in our homes. Like, our children should not feel so comfortable just going into a business and hijacking it.
Yeah, I mean,
just looting
I
it.
understand
It's just
that.
crazy.
I'm just saying.
But no, I understand how
I
you.
was talking about the breaking down of the system. I was talking about the breaking down of the resources. They don't have the money in order to house you. Like they can't. They done built so many prisons over the state of California that they don't have nowhere else to build the prisons at. Like people don't want prisons in their communities. So they didn't. How many prisons we got in California, Vince?
I have
me look
no
it up.
idea. I know it was a whole bunch. And like you were saying, that you see people getting out more and more time cuts and everything else because they running out of money. You know,
Right.
the resources are being drying up. They drying up basically,
Right.
and it's a trip, man.
It says there are 34 adult prisons in California
But they closed down
with a
some, too.
capacity of 85,000.
What about the ones that closed down? Because they didn't close down a lot of them too.
And those are prisons. You have
Right.
youth authorities, you have camps, you have all kinds of different facilities. You know, you have Los Paginos, you have all kinds of different jails. Those are prisons. They're not just, camps.
And privately owned prisons.
Yeah,
It was
it's
so
a lot of
it was
them.
so lucrative that they started building their own personal prisons to house California
And send you to Texas. They'll send you from here to North Carolina,
Tennessee.
to Mississippi, Tennessee. They was just shipping us, bro.
Mm.
It was a new chain gang. Like slavery was transformed to prisons, like free labor. Like
Mhm.
when they freed us, they had to come with a way to get free labor out of us. Like in prison, like in Folsom Prison where I was at, we make couches, we make chairs. It's called prison industries, man.
Mhm.
Like we make stuff for people outside of prison. It's free labor. They only pay us like $1 or something an hour, but we make chairs. Like,
Sean Earl told me that.
Bro,
He
we
said
make
that when he
chairs
was
like-
in, he could make like desks.
we make chairs like this. We make chairs like this. We make desks like that. We make couches. We make everything in prison industry, man. And they send it out to society and we wash clothes like for hospitals, Napa State hospitals, all kinds of different hospitals we do. They got laundry service that we do. It's called prison industries, man.
See,
It's
I
a
was-
$1 billion business.
Yeah, see, I was above that. I had a dignified job.
What was your
I-
dignified
I
job?
worked on the sandwich crew. I made 14 cents an hour.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But like on a real note, bro, they prosper off us. They had to, back in the days, they'll put us like in New Orleans on the
Excuse me.
chain gang,
Yes.
and we go out and cut down them trees and all that. They sell them trees, man.
Mhm.
Like we build roads and shit. Like they had to
Mhm.
find a modern slave. They convicted, and back then they give us 50 years, bro. They want your whole life.
That's right.
So you're saying that because they haven't figured out a way to monetize it, they're just like, well, let them trash the streets, let them run through this.
No,
McDonald's.
bro. What I was saying is that the system created us. Like when they freed us from being slaves, they start putting us in prison to get free labor out of us, man.
No, I understand, but now you're saying they haven't found a way to
Now
make
the
money.
system is broke.
Exactly.
They can't make money off of us like they used to, so they don't want us because we're too expensive. We have like health issues and shit like that. We have dental, we have vision, with health care. You have to pay for your prisoners.
You take care of them.
It's so many prisoners now. It didn't used to be that many prisoners. They was able to maintain it. But when the prison population start booming, then it's like, damn, we're losing more than we're making. They didn't never used to let lifers out, man. Vince, how many years you did, Vince?
27.
He did 27 years. I never had seen a lifer on the streets, bro. Used to be when they gave you life, that's what you did.
Mhm.
Life.
Mhm.
They just started letting them out, bro, maybe 10 years ago, man.
Mhm.
Didn't no lifer get out. His brother been in jail for 40. How long he been in there, man?
46 years.
46 years, man.
Mhm.
But Ward, what the advocates were supposedly fighting for was to take that money out of the prison system and then put that into the hands of community members to create youth programs and what have you. And at least in California, we really haven't seen those dollars transferred
No,
in that
they
way.
created the prison system off the labor of the Mexicans
It was
and
free
the
labor.
black people. You know what I'm saying? And then when they came with at first it was just like, getting them off the streets. And then they started seeing like they can make money. Prison industries, I'm telling you, man, they
Mhm.
make a lot of money.
Bruh.
it make a lot of money. Prison
30.
industry, we make everything.
Yeah, and then they came with what they call joint venture.
Remember they was talking about you make the license plates in prison?
Mhm.
Man, you really do.
While I was at, they made the tags. I worked in a knitting mill, so we made socks. You follow what I'm saying? All the
Bruh,
socks,
like, they
fire
sell all
camp
that
socks,
shit,
all
man.
that stuff.
They sell all that, bro. They
Yeah.
use us for labor. They created a modern day slavery. That's what it was. They couldn't put us in the fields no more, so they had to create a modern day
What
slavery.
is that? The Ninth Amendment, where they said slavery is abolished except in incarceration, and then that's when they started getting little kids, older people. They was
All
talking,
that fall under the 14th Amendment.
Is it the
It's the
14th?
14th Amendment.
Yeah.
That's the emancipation, all that when they gave us right. Remember
No, I
we
was
was
talking about when
1/3 of a human or something at first, wasn't we?
Yeah, I was talking about the one where they said slavery is abolished except imprisonment. I think that's the Ninth Amendment.
Oh,
or something.
I'm not
Yeah,
for sure of that.
Where they used that loophole to now they can start putting Trump you up on. They had little
Oh,
kids chained
that's
and
when you
grown.
go out there on the chain gang.
Yeah, in the South they was
Yeah.
talking about they had kids, a little kid chained to somebody grown. And they was talking about how people was getting molested. Your wife might get snatched and put in prison. She chained to another
bro,
man.
it's like
to
it's
build
like-
roads and all that old stuff. Remember they
Yeah.
had them on them
Yeah.
roads?
Yeah, but
chain
and
gangs.
and that's crazy though, because that goes back to how far we came, Vince.
Yeah,
We came, now we going backwards.
Mm.
We going backwards. Our thinking is going backwards. It's not moving forward in a lot of areas. You know what I'm saying? Our thinking is going backward. We went through all the Marcus Garveys. We went through all the Malcolm X, all the Martin Luther Kings, all that. Who do we have today?
Nobody.
Yeah, nobody. We got Crump. We got the
Who?
lawyer Crump, but you got to get a lawsuit to get him
Who
to
the-
get any.
who is
The dude
Yeah,
with
for Trayvon
Trayvon Martin
Martin,
and
yeah.
Mike Brown and all them, bro. The one you don't know who Crump is?
No.
Vince?
Benjamin Crump, yeah, he's a big civil rights
He's a
attorney.
big silver, but
Yeah.
he's just
Yeah.
like he
But he's
like
like a spokesperson for Black people.
when it comes
when
down
it-
to awareness. I'm not awareness. Let me take that away. When it comes down to bringing attention to a subject,
Oh, is that
he
right?
can bring. George Floyd.
He's
he
great
did
at publicity.
Floyd, what's his name?
Yeah.
The brother Floyd. He did Trayvon Martin. He did Mike Brown. He did all the big
Yeah.
modern day.
Yeah.
He like a Johnny Cochran, bro.
Yes.
The way Johnny Cochran was. That's how he is. Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
So we don't have no representative. Like I said before, we used to have people like Al Sharpton that talk for us, Jesse Jackson talk for us, and we don't have that, man. Don't nobody speak for us no more.
Mm.
I think the closest thing, because I thought about you saying that before, Maxine Waters will go to bat.
She want to come on
She
the show.
will.
We're going to have Maxine Waters.
She wants to come on?
She want to come on the show. We're going to have
That's
Maxine
nice.
Waters on the show.
Maxine Waters.
Yeah, she is. She's great. She always, sometimes they, try to go against her, but she always back herself up. You know what I mean? But yeah, she's a great person and, she got some real stuff.
A lot of brothers don't want to stand up because you'll get canceled.
Mm.
You'll get canceled. And if you're trying to move up
More ways
politically
than
and
one.
whatever
But it
else,
don't matter if you get counseled if you moving with purpose. You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't matter what people think about you when you moving with purpose.
but a
If
lot of
you
people's purpose
feel
is
it
to
in-
make cash, man.
Well, mine is not. Mine is to make people aware of just simple things. Simplicity is the easiest way to go. Once you figure it out, it's real easy. Like, we know that California is hard to survive in. What are we going to do about it? Are we going to sit up here and try to survive, or are we going to move on? Like, what are you going to do? Like, it's hard out here. Every month, you got to figure out where I'm going to get this penny from to match with this nickel. You know what I'm saying? Like, what other places in the world that I can prosper at? Like, you got to figure it out. You know what I'm saying? You can't live your life of misery. You
Yeah.
can't live somewhere where you're unhappy at. You know what I'm saying? If you're not, so if you waking up every day with purpose, you know what I'm saying? If you wake up in the morning and you don't have nowhere to go, you don't have nothing to do, you're moving with no purpose. Your life is meaningless. If you don't have a thing to do every day, or if you don't have a future agenda, something that you're trying to accomplish in your life is empty. If you talk to yourself, ask yourself, what's my direction? What am I trying to do? If nothing come back, you lost. You need to find a purpose. You need to at least start thinking about stuff that you need to do in your life. That's what I'm saying, man. I mean,
That's true.
Yeah, when you get up in the morning, you got to have purpose.
Purpose is one of the biggest problems that people have. You talked about the problem center. I think at the problem center, there has to be something that can help people maybe even find their purpose. Because if you don't have
Right. That's what the 14 points of awareness
Yeah.
is. It's basically to have a person conscious. Like once you become conscious of your existence, and then you start putting purpose with your existence.
right,
It's easy to go to to school. They have city colleges, that you can go to with different vocations, that you can learn. It's never too late to learn something. So if your life is not having no purpose, go to school, man. Do culinary arts, auto mechanics, refrigeration, bricklaying, welding. They got a lot of occupations that you can do, and they give you financial aid. You know what I'm saying? And if you don't want to stay here after you complete that course, take it somewhere where you certified at. It's all kinds of it's not the end of the world when you wake up. When you wake up and you woke to what's going on in the world, you can move better. But as long as you stay blind, and then you're not going to accomplish nothing. And you can't let the blind lead the blind. Somebody got to have their eyes open to see, how to move forward. You know what I'm saying? So you got to move with purpose, man. You can't just get up in the morning and not know what to do. You can't at the end of the week or the end of the month, you ain't accomplished nothing. You got to set goals for yourself as an individual. You got to set goals, man. You got to say, well, like me, my goal is to retire within 3 years. Now, I don't know what state I'm going to be living in. I'm always going to be associated with California, but I don't know what state I'm going to be living in, but I know that I'm going to retire in 3 to 4 years. I'm never going to totally retire because Snoop is going to be a legend forever. So we're going to move. So we're going to do certain stuff, but I'm going to be somewhat, what is the word I'm looking for?
So what does retirement look like for the warden?
Well, it looked like controlling the problem center. It looked like helping out my community. It looked like, doing like stuff that benefit my people.
Got it.
That's what it looked like for me. And I can do it here. I can do it like wherever I'm at. My cause is to be like a guardian angel, man, to the lost. You know what I'm saying? If I know it, I'm a spread it. You know what I'm saying? If I can help you, I'm going to be a good neighbor to you, bro.
These things he was talking about in regards to purpose, having visions and goals and stuff like that, all these things can be implemented in these team centers.
Right.
You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, we start, that's what we doing. We trying to advocate. What we talking about now, we want everybody that's part of our organization to have the type of perspective that we're having, to be able to talk to one another about better advancing ourselves, about, creating, feedback. Understanding is the best thing in the world, bro. You got to be able to communicate with one another, to reach one another. You got to have purpose. Like, what is the purpose of your existence? Like, why are you here? What are you trying to accomplish? Mm-hmm. Some people may say they want a nice house. They want a nice car. But then after that, what? Those are material things. What do you want as a person? What will make you feel like your life was worth living outside of your kids? What do you want to happen? That's the things that we got to achieve, things that give you purpose.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like Maya Angelou, like, she was like, she had purpose. She was intelligent. She helped people. You know what I'm saying? She communicated with people. The knowledge that she had was powerful. That's a blessing, bro.
She definitely was an inspiration.
She was an inspiration,
especially
man.
to a lot of women.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Man, she was. Nelson Mandela, man, was a warrior, man. Nelson Mandela was like somebody that stayed in prison and for years, man, and got out and became the leader of the country. Like,
I remember being a kid, seeing him get out. I was like 8.
I was in my 20s.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah,
I
man.
watched it in Folsom.
Yeah, I mean, it's great people that we didn't witness, man. Don't you want to be somebody great too? Like, that's the ultimate thing, man, to be remembered as being great. Like Babe Ruth, you know.
But it's crazy that you mentioned that you said you was grown when Nelson Mandela came out, right? But it's a trip. You know, NWA kind of came out
About
around the same time.
right?
I was in Folsom when gangster rap hit the scene.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Real
but
tough.
NWA came out, Vince, more so like in '87. With they came out with Rolling in the Streets and My 6'4".
In
you know,
87?
that's 87, 89, somewhere around. No, 87.
About 89, wasn't it?
No, it was 80. Yeah, you was in. Well,
Yeah, I was in Folsom.
Yeah, you was in jail.
I was in Folsom.
Yeah.
Because I got some pictures from y'all. Y'all was in TS at the time.
I remember when I got out of Youth Authority in '87. That's what they was playing. That and Dana Dane.
I think it was you and Duck.
Yeah, we was in YTS. I had just got out of YA in '87.
And then the brother One Punch had rolled me.
Right. Yeah. I had got out of YTS in 1987, and that's what they was playing. Was Rolling Down the Street in My 6'4". Yeah. Damn. Yeah. You went in '85. Yeah. You went. Yeah. You was in Folsom.
Yeah. I was in Folsom.
I was grown, man. I was. I think I had just turned 21. Yeah. But yeah, man, purpose, man. I mean, you know, that's what we strive to do. And we strive to build our community and to wake up in the morning with, you know, something to do. That's the whole thing. Whether, you know, you got a job or whether you're trying to take care of your family, you know, just move with purpose, man. If you got kids and that's what you do, make sure that you be the best dad that you can be or the best mom that you can be. You know what I'm saying? If that's what you're doing is educating your kids at home because the school is coming with different policies and you want to be a stay-at-home dad or a stay-at-home mother to make sure your kids understand what the society that you grew up in. You know what I'm saying? You got to preach that to your kids about how you grew up because you are well-rounded, you know what I'm saying? And your focus is good. And if they be like you, I would say that they're a great person, bro.
I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
It's all about teaching them how to avoid these pitfalls, man, because they got a lot of them. And a lot of them ain't new. They old, but common sense ain't common no more.
Yeah, it's like, man, it's crazy
people are just repeating the same stuff over, and you like, man, that's why it's important to learn history, man.
See, but if we don't take time, and it's hard in this economy and with just the lifestyle to have time to even parent your kids, what I find is that you have to spend so much time talking to them and taking the time to listen and then respond. Because if you don't, there's someone else on social media, whether it's AI or a real person, that's constantly talking to them and indoctrinating them. I think you guys were talking about brainwashing and indoctrination.
Definitely have to exchange a dialogue because they have minds too. So you got to get in their head and see what they're thinking.
Exactly.
You know, opposed to just lecturing them and they just sitting there.
It's got to be engaging.
Yeah, we got to communicate. Let me see what your views are. You know what I mean? Maybe your views, some of them might change me. Who knows?
That's true.
But definitely, I got some certain things I can to pass to you, so you can safeguard yourself throughout life.
And I feel like that's what's going on at Leimert Park when you have kids that'll just smash and grab McDonald's. I don't think they have people in their lives that are.
Sometimes, you know, it's like in the heat of the moment, you know, it's like when one person do something and then we all do it. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes we don't even think about what we doing. We just reacting. You know what I mean? But that's what separate us from the animals, that animals go instinctively, you know what I'm saying, on what they do. We got to start using our mind because we're not animals. You know what I'm saying? We can constantly think about what we're doing. So we got to start preparing our kids for the real world, and that, you know, when you get caught really doing something that like that, but it's more serious, you're going to go somewhere that we ain't going to see you for a long time. And on that note right there, man, I'm going to say, I think it's been a great show. You know what I'm saying? I want y'all to catch me out of town. You know what I'm saying? I want you to join this awareness party. I want to sit down and talk to some of y'all on this tour. You know what I'm saying? It's coming up. It's going out on the 7th to August 27th. And I'm in your town. Holler at me at Doggy Style South Records. DM me and let me know that you want to holler. You heard me? And on that note, salute. Yes, sir.